unleashed. Today we're diving into one of the most underrated forces in your life, your environment. Most people think identity is built from the inside out. But the truth is this: you cannot become the person you want to be while living in the environment that built the person you're trying to leave behind. And I can say that I know this from experience, and we're going to get into that. So when you're ready, let's buckle up and jump into it. All right, you ready? Here we go. We're talking about environment, and I said I had personal experience with it. And what I mean by that is I wanted to be a personal trainer. I got my certification. I know what I was talking about as far as putting exercises together and programs together to really help people, but I had a full-time job. And so I wasn't in the space to truly represent me as a personal trainer. And although I knew my stuff and I had great programs, saying that I'm a personal trainer and not being in an environment that displayed me as a personal trainer did not allow me to truly grow into the identity as a personal trainer. Once I changed that and I placed myself inside of a gym, now I was in the environment that defined that identity. And people saw me as a personal trainer. I was able to relate to people as a personal trainer. So environment makes a huge impact on creating the identity that you're trying to develop to create the success that you're looking for in 2026. When you think about environment, it's not neutral. It's shaping you every single day. Your habits, your decisions, your energy, and your identity. You rise or fall to the level of the environment you're in. I can talk to you about being a personal trainer and being in a gym, but just thinking about that statement, what it really connects with me is this podcast. As I said before, I started a podcast in the past that didn't go well, but it was because of the environment that I was in. I didn't invest in the equipment. I didn't invest in the programs. I didn't even have a space dedicated to doing a podcast. And so I really couldn't dive in and really say that I was a podcast host because there was no environment for me to really create that identity and build on it. This time around, I am using my personal training space, but it's my space. And I use that to my ability to create this podcast host identity. I invested in the equipment. I invested in the program. So the investment in the space that I can then transform from this is where I do personal training is now a space when it's just me. It's a space that I do my podcast too. So my environment really increased the energy, the habits, and the decisions and the identity by just making it a space where I can grow and really challenge myself. Working from my kitchen table in my house with distractions and dogs barking and trying to find a time when everybody's asleep, when there's not a lot of noise, that really wasn't a conducive environment for me to create something that I was truly, truly passionate about. So this time around really puts me in the environment to where I'm excited, the energy is high, and I want to create and build on the identity that I have established and want it to grow in 2026. So if you think about environment as a personal trainer, something that really connects with what I do on a daily basis, it's the gym. I know a lot of people want to be a person that has the discipline and the motivation to go to the gym and work out and hit their goals, be strong, and have that identity. And although they want that, and that is their overall goal, they don't immerse themselves in the environment, which is the gym. They can't make it to the space that will increase that energy, that focus, that discipline, because they're too worried about the little things. What will I do when I get there? I don't know where to start. Well, the starting point is the gym. It's walking through that door. Walking through that door is the first step. They're trying to build a new identity while staying in their old environment, which created their old habits. Their house is their old environment, which doesn't allow them to become a person who goes to the gym because it reinforces the habit of, I'll do it next week, I'll start next month, maybe next year. So it's very important to really immerse yourself in an environment that is conducive to what you're trying to achieve. And that's with anything. If you want to get promoted at your job, then you need to put yourself in an environment that is conducive to a promotion. Whether that be spending more time away from your coworkers and spending more time with the people who have the ability to either mentor you for the promotion or the actual people who have the ability to promote you. Just changing that environment in which you are in on a daily basis will help you reach your goals. So when you think about environment, we said it's not neutral, right? There's really three layers to environment. The first layer is the physical environment, the gym, the space in which the people you want to be promoted with are at. If you want to go back to school, then you need to get to the school. You have to put yourself in that environment, that physical environment, because that's where you're going to thrive. That's where you're going to have the energy and the motivation and the discipline that you need to be successful. That's where it is. It's not with your old coworkers laughing, having a good time, talking about not doing the work that you need to get promoted, or sitting on the couch at home, texting a friend, hey, we really need to get to the gym. That's not going to create that motivation. That's not going to create that discipline. So it's really about putting yourself in the environment. The first step is getting there. Once you're there, it's hard not to do something. If you go to the gym, even if you don't know what to do, it's hard not to just walk on the treadmill. That's something that puts you in the position to start to create success. So make sure that being in the physical place is your starting point. because we have to ask ourselves, is the environment I'm currently in make the behavior that I want to establish easier or harder? If you're not in the physical space, every other environment is going to make it harder to create the behavior you want to establish. The second part is the social environment. Who you are around will dictate how successful you will be. The people you are around constantly need to be reinforcing your identity. Don't be around the people who don't understand why you want to get promoted. Don't understand why you want to go back to school. Don't understand why you want to go to the gym, because they're just going to pull you back into the old identity of, well, I can wait. It can wait. It's no big deal. I'm good where I'm at. So you really need to be around people who are going to reinforce the identity that you're trying to create. So by going to the gym, even if you don't know what you're doing, going to the gym, you eventually start to create connections and relationships with people who can help you start to build your own path to reaching your goals in 2026. Because you will start to talk about the things that you want to achieve. They will tell you about their struggles. You will connect that with your struggles. They will help you with tips and different things. You may even meet a good trainer. You may even meet a good trainer who will then help you really understand what you're trying to achieve, put you in the best position to be successful. Same thing with getting promoted. If you're around the people who do the promoting or are willing to mentor you to help you get promoted, those are the people that are going to really put you in a position to be successful, even when you doubt yourself. I don't know if I'm ready. Is this for me? I'm really, really scared with change. Those are the people who be like, yes, you're ready. Yes. If you don't feel ready, let's talk about why you're not ready and let's put you in a position to be ready. Those are the people that are going to push you towards that identity. Not the people who say, girl, you don't need that promotion. You good where you at? Do you want that extra work? Do you want to stay late? Why are you going to the gym? We could be going out to eat. There's that festival this weekend. Remember? You don't want to go to the gym. So think about who you're around. Because who you're around creates an environment for either success or stay where you currently are. The third layer is the mental environment. The content you consume, what you watch, what you read, what you listen to is shaping your identity every single day. So are you watching workout videos on TikTok? Or are you watching the funny cat videos? Are you subscribed to a personal trainer's YouTube channel? Or are you watching video game content? Nothing wrong with it, but which one is going to move you forward? Which one is going to help you create that identity? Same thing with promotion. Are you listening to leadership podcasts? Are you reading leadership material? Or are you binge watching your TV show every night? You know, the things that we listen to, the things that we read, the things that we put into our lives daily are what is going to put us in a position to be successful. Reading just to read is good. You like fiction? Great. You love mystery? Great. But is it going to put you in a position to be successful? Throw in some leadership, motivational type of content every once in a while. It doesn't have to be every single day. There is time for you to relax. But if you want something bad enough, then you have to surround yourself with it as much as possible. Put yourself in the physical environment. Surround yourself with people who are trying to achieve the same things and will help you be motivated and disciplined even when you don't want to be. And then make sure the content that you're taking in on a weekly, monthly basis has to do with what you're trying to achieve. Like I said, it doesn't have to be every single day, every single hour, but you definitely have to change the content and what you take in on a daily basis, because if you don't change it, you will stay where you are, comfortable. Changing it is uncomfortable, but that being uncomfortable puts you in a position to change, and change is what we're looking for. So when I think about me as a personal trainer and where I'm currently at, currently have my own personal training studio. When I first started, I started out at a gym. I surrounded myself with people who told me that my dreams would come true. As long as you worked hard, your dreams will come true. Because this was my dream, always to have my own space so that I could train people the way I wanted to without scrutiny or having to, I can control every aspect of it instead of working for someone and them controlling how I did things. So the first step was put myself in a position to learn. And in several spaces, I learned what to do, but also what not to do. I created an environment of people that supported me and understood what I wanted to achieve. And I still have a lot of those relationships and clients today. And then I changed what I was listening to and what I read. I still watch. Don't think I don't watch TV. I binge watch TV. But when I'm in the car, I listen to motivational podcasts, motivational speeches. A lot of the things that I read are about leadership and business. So I input that on a daily basis. And that has changed over the course of time and created the identity of who I am today. And today, I am not only a personal trainer, I am a podcast host. And this is something that I've always wanted to do. Had several attempts at it, but put myself in a position to be successful by creating the environment of physical environment, people I surround myself with, and then the mentality that I get from listening to motivational speeches and motivational content, leadership content, has now put me in a position to be the podcast host that I want to be and put out the content that I've always wanted to put out. So environment and identity kind of go hand in hand. Identity is the internal shift. Environment is the external reinforcement. When those two match, change becomes natural instead of forced. You don't fight yourself. You don't have to rely on motivation. You don't have to push through resistance every single day because the environment does the heavy lifting. And that's what has really helped me be everything that I've wanted to be and so much more. Each year I have a different goal. And the environment that I put myself in really helps me chase the goal every single year. I feel like this year is going to be a really, really big year for me as far as things that I'm going to accomplish because of the environment that I've created. The physical environment, the studio, changing it, adding stuff, becoming a better trainer, becoming a more focused trainer. but it also, that has then transitioned into being a podcast host, being more disciplined and recording episodes, studying the content that I'm going to put out and make sure that it's factual, that it relates to the community that I'm trying to build and reach, and the discipline to stick with it even when it's not exactly where I want it to be. And then that is then transferring over into another goal that I'm not really talking about right now, because it's one of those things that I want to make it happen before I really talk about it. But the evolution of me as an entrepreneur, a personal trainer, and now a podcast host has been conducive to the environment that I created and surrounded myself with, and the content that I constantly take in on a daily basis. So the identity that you're trying to create, and we talked about identity a few episodes ago, is really the environment that reinforces that. Without my personal training studio, I don't feel as confident as a personal trainer. Not because I don't have the knowledge. I have a lot of knowledge. I'm very good at what I do. But this is something that I've always wanted. So by creating this environment, a space where I feel confident, where it's mine, I don't have to worry about judgment from others or feeling like I have to share space and I'm not qualified to share the space that this person has. All that is eliminated. It's a safe space. It's my environment where I grow, thrive. So having that helps reinforce the identity of the personal trainer that I want to be. So when you look at it, we're always trying to create an identity and change the person that we currently are into the person that we want to be. The person who has not had a lot of success to the person who in 2026 is going to have a lot of success. Well, we know now that creating that identity is fueled by the environment that we put ourselves in and that we create. But how do we build that environment that pulls you forward? Here's how you build that environment. One, you remove friction. And I think that was very, very important for me. Friction for me was trying to make something work in a space that I didn't feel comfortable in. So I had to remove myself from that. I love the gym setting. I love the community. But as a person who has a habit of comparing themselves to other people, and my program doesn't look like that program, why does he have more clients than I have? I could help that person. Why aren't they working with me and they're working with them? That created a lot of friction. I needed to remove myself from that space and have a space where I just concentrated on me. So getting my personal training studio removed that friction. It also gave me a space that I can do a lot of things. This podcast, for one. It's quiet. It's mine. I don't have to worry about anybody coming in, interrupting, or being at home and having a lot of other things to do and trying to rush through things. This is my space. This is what I do. Another thing you can do to really help build that environment is add cues. And what I mean by add cues is add kind of thought processes that help you build the environment that is conducive to the identity. And what I mean by that is, if, say, you want to go to the gym, a good cue would be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm going to the gym. You know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, those are your gym times. No exceptions. If you want to get promoted, a good cue would be every time I see my mentor, I'm going to ask, what is something I can do today to put me in a position to be promoted? It's a good cue. Every time you see him, boom, you know. Hey, what can I do today to be better prepared to be promoted? And that goes with anything. You want to go to school. Every time I think about school, I need to look up a school that I'm interested in. Or I need to think about the degree that I want to major in. I need to write an email to the dean of students and ask a question about how to get in. Add those cues every time you think about something. Boom, a cue. For me, every Sunday, I have the cue. It's in my Google Calendar. That's my cue to sit down and work on the workouts for clients for the week. Work on my workouts for the week. Every Sunday, have a cue, record a podcast because it's in my Google Calendar. My Google Calendar cues me to do the things to keep me on track. So you have to find ways to put yourself in a position to be successful. And that's through creating the environment. My environment is created through Google Calendar, the space, and the positive reinforcement that I have through motivational speaking and podcast. Those are my cues to stay on track. Next thing, surround yourself with people who live the identity you want. Put yourself in rooms that stretch you. Those two things. You have to put yourself in the space that is going to challenge you to reach your goals. And with that, you have to surround yourself with people who at least want to be successful in 2026 too. You can't surround yourself with people who are complacent and just love where they are and they're okay with it, because you will then become okay with where you are too. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But for somebody who wants to be successful in 2026, you have to be willing to put yourself in a space with other people who want to be successful in 2026. Some people are very comfortable with the lives they have, and they don't want to be in a position to either have to do more work, have to work harder to get more things. They are very comfortable where they're at. It's very routine, it's very natural, and it's comfortable. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you are somebody who wants more, then you have to put yourself around people who want more. They don't have to want the exact same thing that you want, but they have to have that drive, that motivation, that discipline that you're looking for, that you can draw from them. They can mentor you, they can help you, they can push you, because that's where you will find success. And the last thing, which I think is the most important thing, create a space that supports your habits. I cannot tell you how this space right here supports my habits. Not only is it a space that I train my clients, but it's a space that I train myself. And this reinforces me being a better trainer because I want to be better in every aspect. So I have a space that I can train myself. I do my workouts here just like my clients do their workout here. And being able to do that allows me to better myself, improve my own health, improve my own mental health, which then allows me to create in this space the best programming for each individual that I coach. without this space, I'm not 100% sure I am the trainer that I am today. I have a lot of knowledge, I have a lot of experience. But without this particular space, the space that I've built, that I created, that is conducive to everything that I do, I'm not 100% sure that I'm the trainer that I am today. I'm probably a really, really good trainer, because I am a good trainer, but I'm not 100% sure I'm the trainer that I currently am today. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So, environment. Find you a space that really supports your habits. I think that's ultimately the most important aspect. And we have to really focus on a hard truth. Here's the part most people don't want to hear. You cannot out-discipline a destructive environment. You cannot out-motivate a space that keeps you stuck. You must change the environment to change the identity. And I know that's hard to hear, because what that means is you may have to leave people behind. You may even have to leave a state. You may have to leave a neighborhood. You may have to leave loved ones. And that is very, very hard. It's hard to accept, and it's hard to really understand. But it's the truth. I can say honestly that the past 2 years has probably been the most isolated I've been my whole life, because I choose to put myself in space where I can be successful. And a lot of times, a space that has a lot of people in it is too loud for me. And I can't really think, and I really can't plan. I have ADHD, so a lot of things distract me. And so when I'm not in a space that is quiet and I can think and I can plan and I can stay on task, it's very, very hard for me to be successful. And that's something that I had to recognize and realize. And in doing that, I would say that I have a lot of friends, but I don't have a lot of friends that I hang out with, because I am so driven. But I'm okay with that, because the people that I do interact with are the people that help me be the best of me. I don't have a lot of people that I just hang out with, that I just go to watch a football game with, or go do things with. The people that I surround myself with are people that are going to help me be the best trainer, help me be the best podcast host, and reach all the goals that I want to reach in 2026. So it is kind of isolating, and it is kind of, I wouldn't say lack of fun, because I have a lot of fun, but there is not a lot of excitement, is I guess what I'm trying to say. But on the other side of that, the success that I am building is very exciting. It wakes me up every single day, and I'm in a good mood, and I'm ready to get after it. So it can be very isolating. Success can be lonely. Success can pull you from a space that is very, very comfortable. But the willingness to put yourself in an environment that may be uncomfortable, unfamiliar, is what is necessary to create the success you're looking for in 2026. So here's the challenge this week. one environment shift you will make, one space you need to step into, one cue you will add to reinforce your identity, one person you need more of in your environment. These are the things that are going to help you create the identity, because identity is built by repetition. Environment is what makes repetition possible. So just this week, just think about one environment shift you could make. Whether it be, I'm going to go to the floor where I want to be promoted and just talk to people. One day, just go up there and just introduce yourself. If you want to go back to school, visit the school and introduce yourself to the dean of students and say, hey, I will be going here one day. Just wanted to give you my name and introduce myself. If you want to go to the gym, let's walk through the doors of the gym and at least sign up for a membership. That's an environment shift. That's one space you need to step into. And then you need to add a cue to reinforce your identity. So let's think about cues. Adding something to a Google Calendar. Even a mantra of some sort that kind of reinforces this identity. But something that gives you the cue that this is who I'm going to be. Setting a schedule, putting things in Google Calendar, setting alarms for different things. When the alarm goes off, you know what that alarm means. Whether it think about what you're trying to achieve, write a task down that's going to help you achieve it, or even just setting a time frame for you to really focus on what you're trying to achieve. Let's add a cue. One cue. That's all we're going to do. And I think one of the most important things is, who is one person you need more in the environment you're trying to create? Whether it be a mentor, a coworker that you need to introduce yourself to, going to the gym and just meeting someone that the person you're walking next to on the treadmill, whoever it may be, who is one person? Identify that person, and then make plans to introduce yourself and get to know that person. It's a little scary, I know. That's why it's a challenge. It's going to take you out of your comfort zone and put you in some uncomfortable situations. But that's what a challenge is. You overcome it and you become better because of it. I know for me, this week, I'm really going to try to add a person to the podcast in the coming future. So that is something that I will be looking for. As far as a cue, I will probably add an alarm that will tell me that this is a time to kind of focus on what type of person I'm looking for. So I should be able to, by the end of the week, I should be able to identify the characteristics of the potential co-hosts for the future. And then as far as putting myself in that environment, I'm probably going to, I need to nail this down. It's not a probably. I'll probably host a live on TikTok and maybe do some potential host interviews as a exercise for myself. I know that is kind of extreme, but it's uncomfortable for me. So creating that uncomfortable environment and that challenge and overcoming it, I think it will help me become not only a better podcast host, but create an environment for a potential podcast host to say, hey, I really like what he did. He may not have done it well, and I could tell he was uncomfortable, but that's the type of person I want to be around. And so that may actually help me find exactly who I'm looking for. So if you're listening to this episode and you find yourself taking on this challenge, comment shift on this podcast, because I would love to know that this podcast really reached you in a way and you connected with it in a way that you took on this challenge. So as we wrap up this episode, let's think about it this way. We're trying to create new identities in 2026. The successful version of ourselves. The environment is what is going to reinforce every habit, all the energy, and the identity that we're trying to create. So let's establish a great environment, find where we need to be, put ourselves there on a daily basis, and really become the people who are successful in 2026. So as we close, let's build the environment, and we know the identity will follow. Stay focused,